What a week it's been for Marmite brand awareness, eh? Tesco's, or is it Tesco? Is it Tesco or Tesco?
It's Tesco, isn't it?
Anyway, Tesco's was involved in a price row with manufacturer Unilever, which it's thought wanted to increase costs by 10% after a drop in the value of the pans. Even though Marmite is made in Burton-on-Trent. It's understood deliveries stopped after Tesco refused. The blockade was declared perfectly legal as 2 Jedi Knights were dispatched to negotiate and chop up some robots. Sky's Joe Tidy says other supermarkets have expressed concerns.
I've spoken to another unnamed supermarket chain that have told me that this is how they phrased it. Tesco's is not the only supermarket to have been approached by Unilever. They are asking for price increases on products made in the UK and are using Brexit as an excuse.
Well concerned. Chief Executive of Next, or as it's now known, Nexit, Lord Wolfson, who is definitely related to Mark Watson, have a listen, says having a dispute in public is the worst way to negotiate, you know?
I think the lesson from that is a very clear one. Never have a negotiation in public. And it's a lesson that should be taken a long way beyond just Tesco's and Unilever. I'm not going to come down on either side in the Marmite debate.
Come on. That's what journalists have been doing all week, riffing on the love it or hate it Marmite Brexit analogy. It does sound like Mark Watson, though. You know who he is. He's the Canadian
I know who he is,
guy.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it to me. He's not Welsh enough.
Fine. Anyway, Magazine Retail Week's George MacDonald, no relation to Ronald, clown fans, we'll come on to that in a minute, rightly predicted that they would sort it out.
Because it's bad for Tesco not to have brands like Marmite on its shelves. Shoppers do expect to see those brands. But equally, it is not good for Unilever not to be able to distribute through its stores.
Yeah, no, blatantly. I went to a supermarket in Catford this week, and it did have Marmite on its shelves. I hope it was. Former Tesco, or Tesco's supply chain director, Bruno Montaigne, definitely related to Bruno Tonioli, says it's unusual the row was so public.
The fact that it's in the open, I would argue, is because this really impacts the entire industry. Tesco being the biggest retailer in the UK and Unilever the biggest supplier to Tesco, they were the perfect two gorillas to have a good fight with each other. This was really setting the benchmark for what the impact of Brexit will be.
I'm sorry, did someone mention gorillas? Gorillas! Hey, a wildlife group is calling for an urgent inquiry into the escape of a large silverback gorilla from its enclosure at London Zoo. No one was hurt and the animal was recaptured, but the Born Free Foundation says things could have ended very differently with the silverback gorilla having been hired by Channel 4 as a cheaper replacement for Paul Hollywood in the Great British Bake Off. Malcolm Fitzpatrick from the zoo says the incident was swiftly dealt with, yeah?
It shows how well the emergency drill procedure that we have here at the zoo works, and also the relationship and support we have from the emergency services, that our emergency teams were able to react so quickly, and the police were here as well to support us.
Yeah, whatever. Plus, of course, the 8 million people there to retweet the photos. But let's talk about a species I'd be delighted to see on the endangered list, clowns. The NSPCC is concerned the creepy clown craze spreading across parts of the UK is getting out of control. In a week, Childline received 120 calls from children who were worried or frightened by it, and a quarter of them were under the age of 11. John Cameron from the charity says some children reported being threatened by pranksters with knives and bats.
This is clearly getting out of control. Now, we recognise in the NSPCC that fads occur across the UK, but what we've got to recognise also is that there needs to be firm action against anybody who's threatening a child, whether they are a child themselves or whether they're an adult.
Do you know who I blame? Do you know what I blame? I blame banter. It's this idea you can say what you like or do what you like as long as it's done in the name of banter. The clown outfit is like the physical manifestation of banter. It's the lowest common denominator attempt at humour, perpetrated by sad, lonely, friendless, mirthless twits who get off on terrorising the most vulnerable people in society. It's a hate crime, pure and simple. And if you've done it or you've shared it, you're... Can I say this word, Matt? Can I not? You're a fool. All in all, it's been a wonderful week for kiddies, hasn't it? Wonderful week for kiddies. It's reported 4 children were killed when a shell landed near a school in Aleppo. The mayor, imagine being the mayor of Aleppo. You see that pile of smouldering rubble there with the bloodied hands of children sticking out of it? I'll run that. Brilliant. The mayor claims the West is complicit in war crimes for failing to stop bombings on rebel-held areas by the Syrian government and Russia. But the Foreign Secretary Does anyone else find it a bit weird saying that? Boris Johnson says Britain should not raise false hopes about bringing in a no-fly zone to stop the onslaught of airstrikes on Aleppo in Syria, and told a committee of MPs other options should be looked at too.
If there is more that we can reasonably and practically do, together with our allies, then of course we should consider those measures. And believe me, that work is now going on.
Those other measures, apparently, according to him, being getting members of the public protesting against Russia. So someone painting "Stop the War" on a bit of old cardboard and standing outside the Russian embassy. That'll do it, right? Every little helps, right? Chris Nynham from the Stop the War Coalition says no, it doesn't help, actually.
The idea that there should be a protest at the Russian embassy, it wouldn't have any impact on Putin. What it would do would be to increase the hysteria, increase the jingoism.
But hang on. Jingoism? That's like Boris Johnson's middle name, isn't it? Hello? We just had a vote for Jingo. We voted Jingo. Move with the times, man. It's a societal recession, not just a financial one. We're all retreating into our separate tribes, and if some kiddies die, well, it doesn't matter because they're far away and not ours. And anyway, if my kid doesn't get some Marmite in him soon, he's going to get rickets. Here's a really simple questionnaire, okay? If we could just make it mandatory that everyone fills this out, we'll be just fine. Question 1. Are you thinking about dropping a bomb somewhere? Yes or no? If yes, go to 2. 2. Is there the tiniest, remotest possibility it could land on a child? Yes or no? If yes, go to 3. 3. Do not drop the bomb. And that was what everybody really meant on this most depressing of weeks. I need cheering up. Does anybody know any good clowns?